Hello there, and thanks for watching this video of Palo Alto video training series. In this video, we will be talking about doing some initial configuration on the firewall, the virtual firewall that we actually installed on previous video. If you remember previous video, what we've done, we have created the lab with our Windows machine and what VMware workstations, created obviously different LAN segments for inside and outside and all those kind of things, and installed or imported the Palo Alto VA files into the VMware workstation, and we've got the firewall up and running. In this video, we basically need to set up the IP address, the management IP address. The first thing that we need to do is just setting up the IP address of the management interface of Palo Alto Firewall, and then get access through our PC and start obviously setting it up. There's a specific command that we have to obviously use to do that I will show you in a second. In this video, basically, that's what we do. We just set up the IP address on the interface and then obviously start setting up the rest of the configuration through the browser. We will be talking about some general configuration like time, NTP, DNS, and things like that, user management, logging, and how to do things like that. As the firewall is not completely ready, because we don't really have the other IP addresses, we will have the only management IP address here. There will be obviously some limitations with this particular video, so I'm going to show you where the locations are and things like that, and then later on in another video come back to it and start setting them up. So some of the configuration you might not be able to do it right now, but it's a good idea for you to know where the main system configurations are located and how to basically do those changes. First thing we're going to do, we're going to set up an IP address on the management interface of the Palo Alto Firewall, and then we should be able to get access to the firewall through our PC. So let's get started. As you can see, I've already started my Palo Alto Firewall, and default username and passwords are admin. So we just log in with admin. There is a similarity between Palo Alto Firewalls and all other network and basically security devices like Cisco, Juniper, and others. Things like you can use tab to complete commands, or you could use question mark to get a list of the commands, things like that. Initially, when you log into Palo Alto Firewall, you cannot configure anything. This is mainly a read-only interface. If you want to start setting up the system, if you want to configure the system, you have to type configure, enter the configuration mode, and now basically we can start setting up the IP address and things like that. As I said, the first thing we want to do, going back, set device config system IP address to set up an IP address on our management interface of the Palo Alto Firewall. Set device config, and you can see if you press tab, it will complete, or question mark, same thing, system IP address, and then we type the IP address that we need to use as management interface of the Palo Alto Firewall. 192.168.62.10 was our IP address, and then netmask is going to be 255.255.0. And if we want to set up a default gateway, we can set up a default gateway as well, but for now I don't really need a default gateway for this lab. So I'm just going to enter, and there we go. So that's it. So we've basically specify the IP address for the management interface of the Palo Alto Firewall. Next thing we need to do is basically to commit the change. So if you are familiar with the Juniper firewalls, it is pretty much similar concept. So you have to obviously set up an IP address or change the configuration first, and then type commit to commit the change that you've done and apply the change that you've done. So there is a bit of a difference if you are a Cisco person, because with Cisco it will apply the moment that you actually type the command, but with Palo Alto Firewalls you have to commit it to get it applied to the interface. So now we've done this, our firewall should be ready and accessible from our PC. So I just open the browser, just type the IP address of the firewall, press enter, and there we go. So default username and password for Palo Alto Firewall, again, admin, login. So you can see you got the dashboard here. There are some general information and things like that on the dashboard that you can see, system resources and things like that. There are different tabs on the top that we will be talking about, all those tabs on different videos. These dashboards and things like that, they're customizable, so you can add and remove things. We will be talking about that too. What we want to start talking about for this particular video is initial device configuration. So we go to the device tab, excuse me, and basically we have all these system configurations and requirements here. So we're going to start obviously with some main things and configuration. Like you can see in the device tab, there's a management tab, and there are different sections here. So if you click on the little icon that you can see on the top right side, you can basically modify any of these widgets here. Just click on that. So you can change the host name. Just leave it as PA VM, or you can change it to whatever you want. You could specify your domain name in there if you want to, like the login banner. You could change the time zone and stuff. So you're gonna, obviously I am located in Australia, so I'm gonna choose Australia time zone. Change the date and time. So we just all the initial configuration that you have to do. That's it. So we've done some general setting changes. Then the system is trying to apply the configuration. So usually when you change the time zone and stuff, it's going to take some time to do so. So I give it a bit of time. Okay, so you can see that the initial configuration we've done applied there. if you want to set up authentication profile, we will be talking about authentication profile in a later day. So don't worry about that. So you have some specific settings about logging and things like that here as well. You could specify. The other important thing that you need to know is if you want to change the logos and things like that on your firewall, make it specific to your own company. You could do it here. Reverting back to the configuration or saving configuration can be done here, exporting configuration, things like that. There is a services tab that we need to do some changes here as well. So basically, we need to assign a DNS server in there. As I mentioned at the previous video, Palo Alto Firewalls are next generation firewalls, and DNS and name resolution is quite important for next generation firewalls because they're doing a lot of things like application filtering and URL filtering and things like that. So they need to be able to understand names and URLs specifically. And if they don't, obviously they don't work as expected. So you could specify your DNS server here. I use my internal DNS server 192.168.62.2, which I think that was .1.2. That is my Windows 2012 server on the internal network, and I'm using a free DNS server as a secondary. If you have any NTP server, you could set up your NTP server in here as well. I don't really have an NTP server right now, so I'm not worried about that. My cloud settings is manual. And hit apply again. The other thing that you need to know here is the service route configuration. So you see, for most of the system configuration and system specific services, Palo Alto Firewall will be using management interface to route the traffic by default. If you need to change that, if you have a server, see that my DNS server, for example, is located on the internal network. If you need to change that, you need to basically change that to whatever interface that you need to do. For example, if Ethernet 1/1 is the interface that I need to change it, I need to change it here. Otherwise, Palo Alto will try to use management interface to route the traffic. The other thing you need to know is Wildfire. Wildfire is the cloud interface of the Palo Alto Firewalls. Basically, is the location that they do all the analytics and malware protection and things like that. So when there is a new suspected file or there is a new malicious activity, the file will be sent to Wildfire and will be analyzed there. And if there is a virus or something, it will be reported back to all of the Palo Alto Firewalls around the world, and it will update the signatures that they have, and it will be blocked. So that's another thing for you to know. You could specify settings that you need to have here, what are the file types and file size limits and things like that that will be sent to Wildfire. The session settings, so you could limit your sessions in the firewall. You could say this is good to make sure that the firewall when it's under DOS attack or anything like that, it won't be overloaded. It won't have any impact on the firewall operations and management. So you could change these timeout settings here as well. And if you have any hardware security module, basically to control and manage your cryptography keys and things like that, you could specify it there as well. They don't really have anything at the moment. So that's basically the initial configuration that you have to do.